Hello everyone, I'm Ben Jammer from Jammer Studios and welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we'll be moving our character around as in like he's in a cave trying to discover what's around him. So you can see the 5 blocks on him and around him. Those are the light blocks, those are blocks that he can see, and then the other darker ones are the ones that have been explored but can't really see what's like happening on that block. And then the lighter gray ones, the ones that I'm moving towards and removing off of the screen, those are unexplored areas that we are looking at when we hover over with our light blocks, our more profound ones. And this is what we're going to be making in today's episode, so stick around if this is what you are looking to do. But first, we're going to head to show off the tile map for a second here. So let's go to the tile map. And we have 3 different tiles that I showed you. We have our light one, that's the tile our character's on. The gray one, which is the blocks around our light block. And then we also have the dark block. These are the explored areas that our light is not catching. And make sure you look at the right. So you see that I'm hovering over it. You can see the name of our block, tempdarktile.png, and you see a 2. That is the ID of the block. So we have the dark one's 2, this gray one is 1, and this light one is 0. You're going to have to remember those IDs when we when we go into the script. And these are all single tiles. So let's go to the script of our tile map, and what we're going to be doing today is just placing down our tiles. So we have a function here, place tile at a set position with a certain tile ID. So that would be that 0, 1, or 2. And so with that function, that would be set cell V, which would be the converted position of our player, or any position is just converted to the tile map coordinates and not the global coordinates that every other player uses. And then the tile of ID that we want to actually change, hence being 0, 1, or 2. So now that we have that one function, we can start placing down tiles. And now placing down tiles, that can mean we're placing down the 1, the 0, or the 2. That also could mean that we're placing down a tile ID of -1, which that means no, there's no tile. That means there's nothing there. So that's what -1 means when you're looking into tile IDs. If it is -1, that means there is no tile there. It's just null. So now to place down the blocks, we're going to go to our player script and activate that function whenever we need to. So when we're moving, let's see here, the functions, there's one function very similar. Let's forget about replace tiles for now. That will be used later. But the main function that is used with all of these is check tile. And when check tile happens, we can see we move if check tile returns true. So if we go to check tile and we go to right before it returns true, we can actually place down our tile. So we grab our tile map, the function that we just created, place tile, the converted position of where we're trying to go to, and then the tile ID, which is 0. So 0 would be our light tile. So now our player is moving to the position, and we're flipping that tile to be the light tile. And that's how we place tiles within our engine when we start moving around, because that's the only thing we're doing right now. All our program can do is just add a new tile every single time we walk around, and it's always going to be that light tile or the gray tile. Whatever number you put here, whatever tile ID you put here, will be whatever is only placed, and it will only place that if it's a -1, meaning it's a walkable tile. We can then make place down a new tile ID. But now we need to be able to remove said tiles. We also have remove said tiles, so we're going to need to create a new function because all of these things require the same thing. It's the position that we're looking at, the converted position of the global coordinates into the tile grid coordinates, and then we will get those tile coordinates, the tile ID that we want, and replace that tile. We do this multiple times throughout, so this is why we have the function of place tile. So then we're going to be placing the tile, the light tile, and then we're going to be placing, when we move off, the dark tile or the mid tile, whichever stage you're at right now. But right now we're just going back to whatever tile we want, which would be so far as to the black tile for now. But once you are able to then remove tiles after moving off of them, we can then run a new function that's called after we move our character, called replace tiles. This one we're adding in the gray tiles. So we have replace tiles here. It's called after we're moved. So the replace tiles is we then have the vectors, all the different directions that we can go into, left, right, up, and down. And if you think about it, if we are in a grid and we move to the right, we then have 3 new blocks that are now lit up within our tiles. So we want to light up, if we go right, the top, the right, and the bottom. So if we're going to light those places up, then we have to check to see if these vectors don't equal the opposite direction that we went into, because these only place down a tile of 1, the kind of half lit tiles. That's what we're looking for. We're placing down these new tiles. That's what this is right here. Placing down new tiles. And then this would be removing the dim lit blocks, because this is what that's doing if it is not the direction that we went into. So we'll go in the opposite way because we just came from that block. We want to then flip the other old lit blocks, dim lit blocks that we do not need anymore, because these are the new ones. Placing down new dim lit tiles. And that is what replace tiles is for. But right away, if you do not press a button, you just start up the program, right away it will not do a whole lot of this. You would have to press the arrow keys for the program that we just writ to actually work. So what we're going to have to do is we have to initiate it. So in our ready function, we have called the initiate light, and this is, we do the exact same thing. We have a list of all the vectors that you can go into. We convert the tile underneath us to the light tile, and we convert all of the vectors around us to those dim lit ones. So now when we go and run our program, you can see that the initiate function works. Our tile that we're on is the lit one, and the ones around us all the way are the dim lit ones. And if we move to the right, we spawn in these 3 new blocks here, the dim lit ones, and then these 3 old dim lit ones go back to being the black tiles. And that's exactly what the functions that we wrote in here do. And so we can just walk around and start exploring, because there is no limitations to these blocks. You can just go in any single direction, so you can only see the ones that you've been lit. And in the future, we'll be able to do this with an auto tile. So if you go to like a straightaway, you can only go straight on it. There can be a turn piece, so you can only turn right or turn left. It can be a 3-way, so you can't go straight, but you can go to the right or the left. There's a 4-way stop. It's all kinds of things, but basically those can kind of limit the direction that you can go into. And that would be the next step into this process. So thank you for sticking around to the end of this episode. If you like the content of today, please think about liking down below. If you like the content that I create, think about subscribing to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know down below. And if you have any ideas about like what you would like to see in the future, then let me know down in the comment section below. Without further ado, I hope you all have a good day. I'm Ben Jammin from Jammin Studios. See ya!